There is a reason I title all my live streams Jordan Sucks At. I just want to set the expectation right at the front.
Welcome back to another Linux Gamecast Weekly. The show covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. I'm Venn, that's Jordan. Sandy is on special assignment, dealing with stuff that both of us would hopefully never have to deal with.
I kind of have to deal with it now.
You're adjacent to it, yeah, very.
I have a ward a la, like, Bruce Wayne, I guess, so yeah.
We're talking about teenagers. So, and hey, together with you, Chat Realm Dynamic, watching us live. You know it, helping us form Cocaine, Voltron, very important part of this show. Jordan, I was saving this all week. I've been writing bash scripts. Been trying to automate things, and I was thinking about you.
Do you have the obsession that I do of like trying to get as much shit on one line as you can?
I'm okay. I talked about this on Tuesday. My rule for this is bash script, long as it's under 100 lines.
Okay.
You go over 100 lines, you need to go start fucking around with Perl. Not Perl. God, you got me thinking about Perl, Python.
No, not if you're on Alpine Linux.
No, you're not. Were you? Not for that week. You weren't. That's wild. Dude. Go back and listen to the pre super shows, and if you are a patron. But relatively simple task. I've been playing around with a guide for Box 64, Box 86, getting Steam running on non-Raspberry Pi ARM devices because, you know, Raspberry Pi, there's a billion of them. You go to the App Store, you click a button, you basically are up and running. But what about everybody with a Rockchip 35, whatever series, which is faster than what's in a Raspberry Pi 5? And I'm like, okay, how can I automate this where I won't feel bad about people running it? Something that's very reasonable, easy to read. You can just kind of step through it. And I kept running into this one problem, and I'm like, wait a minute, AI exists. Okay, Gimli. Gimli's what I call Bard, formerly Bard. I don't even know what it's called these days. Gemini. I'm like, all right, let me just, for my amusement, try this. And I put it in this simple, like, I think I was like maybe at like 70 lines. What are we doing? We're just like installing some apps. We're adding an architecture for 32-bit ARM. We're downloading the Steam client. I'm doing a little bit of voodoo unpacking the Debian package from i386. But anyway, this thing comes back with like 160 line, just monster amalgam that I was having trouble like following what it was up to. And the gorgeous thing was like I typed in remove the bullshit and it shaved off because like it was error checking everything all the way down too, dude. And it didn't work. And here's what pissed me off.
Of course, yeah.
I was like, this doesn't work. And it's like, oh, you're absolutely right. And I did that 3 more times and it kept going, oh yeah, I can change that. It just hilarity. So I know you automate some stuff. Have you played around with any of the AI like Copilot or?
No, I have a drive earmarked for setting up like Olama. I need to like install it on this computer, which involves moving this desk and getting access to the corner where the computer sits at the moment. But like, yeah, honestly, I don't find that much utility in a lot of these automation tools. I imagine if I had to do a lot more like boilerplating.
Yeah. I was assuming like you don't get simpler than Bash, right?
Yeah, well, yes and no,
okay.
Because
all right.
you can make some pretty ridiculous Bash scripts.
Yes,
and Bash has some features in there that a lot of folks don't know about that some scripts take advantage of. That other like if you try to just run it in like what gets me is this is a Debianism. Right. I really like Debian, but my God. They should not have SH and Bash be 2 different things. It should just be Bash. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. They're just like, oh yeah, and this script doesn't work because we're using actual Bourne shell from 1974 as opposed to like the modern equivalent that everyone else just like symlinks bin SH to Bash, right?
Yeah. Like I was so far down into this thing, dude. I learned what sudo E does. Do you know what sudo E does?
Does E set an environment variable, I believe?
It preserves environment.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like
I usually recommend people use sudo I instead of sudo su because it makes you less vulnerable to like environment injection attacks like shell shock. Speaking of, I wanted to bring this up just before we get into it proper. You saw that I don't know if you posted it, but it was that malware that hit a bunch of universities running Linux.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, there was a new Linux one. The problem is that like, and it's pretty nasty. It's like remote code execution, blah blah blah. The downs to actually get it on your system though, you have to download and run the fucking package. And it's like, well, how did this happen? Oh, curl pipe into sudo bash. That's what happens.
What?
Yeah.
How?
Because no, like like Rust. When you set up Rust, when you do Rust up, it's like, yeah, curl it and run into the bash script. There are a lot of projects now that have you just pull some random script from the internet, and people are taking advantage of it now.
Like even with the bash script, like I do the little thing at the beginning where it's like, yo, homie, this needs sudo, but like it stops you like before it runs and makes you manually enter that shit. So
yeah, and it's just to like set up a repository and run an app installer. Right.
Well, moral of the story is I ended up just like going back to just me being me of like, you know what, we're just going to step through this and show and explain what everything's doing instead of just giving you that easy script. But it's only like 4 steps. It's great. I'll be working on it on interfacing Linux. Very fascinating shit to see, at least for me, what we can get away with in 2025 on Steam on ARM running Linux. It's playable stuff. Stick around over on interfacing Linux. And another thing I want to plug real quick. We had a great time last night. If you're not watching this stuff, you're not interested in it, that's cool. We can hang out. TM2 crew, we do it on Tuesdays and Fridays, but Fridays after rounds, we get into psychotic circuses and we do RPG racing. It's not even racing, it's obstacle courses of bullshit, which is a great team building exercise of people trying to help each other. And, it's myself, Ogie, Turbo, and Alan joins. And Alan got lost in the fun house last night.
It does not sound like a very fun time.
It was great, man, because like we had all gotten lost and we'd figured it out. And Alan's like, I'm lost. And I'm like, oh shit. And then we're trying to help Alan try to figure out how to get back. It's great. Great time. Come join us if you want. All the information over on Linux Gamecast. What you been up to, man?
Well, I posted some of when we talked about it in the pre super shows as well. I've been doing some arts and crafts stuff. I got a fancy paper cutter for doing proxies. Beyond that, I've been balls deep into Kubernetes Gateway API documentation.
Just for fun, light reading.
Yeah, just some casual reading. Just gotta learn about all the various implementations. Oh man, I will share a rather embarrassing work blunder that I did because in the case that someone else runs into it, when you're dealing with Kubernetes, there are various ingress controllers. FYI, Nginx ingress and ingress Nginx are 2 completely different pieces of software that are configured very, very differently, despite the fact that they are both ultimately Nginx under the hood. And I wasted a lot of time this week getting that confused. So, yeah.
Was that like one of those things where you're like half a day into it and you're like, oh.
I was like 2.5 days into it.
Oh, shit.
I was a ways into it, and then I'm like, okay, fuck it. Well, then it's that thing where like, you know when you're trying to like move a solution from one thing to another, and you're like, how do I like nudge this? What are like the interim steps I can like push it towards so that by the end of it, I will be in a position where where I want to be. And at a certain point, you're like, okay, no, but that's just way too much work at that point. I'm just gonna build the new thing and cut over.
Fuck it, yeah.
That's about where I got to.
Okay. Well, something we need to get to this week is hopefully now with no added. We had a little bonus echo last week because I accidentally pressed the button. We had a bit of a fail over on the old Steam Deck. The horse kept giving us the business.
It's the reverb, but fortunately, Steam Horse and Horse Steam are the same thing. It's the Steam
Linux thing of the week. Let's see if it does its thing. Maybe.
Did you press the button?
I pressed the button. Are we echoing?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Nemo says it's off. Boo, 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 boo. Welcome back to the rest of the fucking podcast.
Yeah, hey, this is what happens when just two of us deal with it. Different show.
Yeah.
3 years. Can you believe this? Steam Deck has been out for 3 full years. And another thing, let's just talk about The Verge for a minute. You remember when The Verge first came out? Like they did some like good reporting. They did some good stuff. Then they just turned into what we would call The Verge. You know, remember that video that they tried to remove off the internet? Like, this is how you build a computer, that version. They're coming back and actually doing some good stuff. And I want to give them a shout out. You know, when you see some stuff looking good, 3 years after its release, it's time to dig up some actual number digits on the Steam Deck, because Valve's like, we sell a lot of them. That's cool. So The Verge got the research firm IDC to crunch some numbers. And it turns out the combined shipments of Steam Deck and the Windows-based Asus ROG Ally, Lenovo Legion Go, and MSI Claw hit around 6 million units total. All of the 2022 decks were like 50% in 2023 and 48% in 2024. So yeah, 2022, all decks all the time. They had 50% of the market in 23 and 48% in 2024 because nobody wants a Steam not deck. Well, most of them, but they did at the end when we got down to the final concentrate. About 4 million decks, Jordan, in the wild.
No, that's impressive. Again, like it really goes to show you, like, Nintendo was onto something back in the day with the Switch form factor. Everyone was very skeptical about it, and they're like, "Oh, a handheld console." But it seems like that form factor has the juice, and it took basically Valve coming up with a platform able to rival that. So it's good to see. There's some comments from like AMD in this article as well, and it's like, yeah, no, AMD has really good reason to be excited about this new market segment, considering they are player one in it. There's like no other. I mean, okay, I'm aware that the Claw exists, and I'm the only one who cares that the MSI Claw exists.
Yeah, it's because on that damn auction site you go to, right?
Yeah. Everything else is running some sort of AMD APU, and yeah, like, it's showing that the platform really has some legs. I guess the thing here is they're also mentioning that the Legion Go is coming out soon, and I guess we're excited to see how that's going to stack up, because that's going to be the first non-Steam OS device.
But wait, there's another. I don't even know if people know about this. You know Orange Pi, right?
Yeah.
They are making a Steam Deck-like device. Proper. And they're working with Valve on this, which I didn't find out until this week, because they were like, hey, we're going to be seeding some early, you'll probably start seeing some like early reviews from YouTubers, not me. I was like, but coming out next couple of weeks about that thing. So when we start seeing SteamOS widely available, do you think they're just ever going to unlock it? Like, here, go download it, because then it's going to be AliExpress decks all the way down, right?
I talked about that the last time. It really seems that they like learned their lesson from Android. We're like, yeah, you really want to curate the optics on SteamOS, and if you're gonna say like this thing officially supports SteamOS and ships with it, it's got to have a good experience, because otherwise you're gonna like get the reputation that Android has, where it's like, oh, it's that other one, you know.
I don't know. It's good to see 3 years in. I feel like that's like less than I was expecting, but that's still a lot of decks, man. 4 million at, you know, what's our minimum price? $399 for a while.
Yeah, for $400 for like the 64 gig one.
Yeah.
And then people were like spending money to upgrade that as well. And like, again, it's also like a supplementary console as well. Not a lot of people are gaming off of Steam Deck as their main device. They'll have like a console, or they'll have a computer or something else as well, right? So
it's the couch device.
Yeah.
I
think as like this form factor matures, and as more and more of these things are out, I think that then it's that's going to change. People are maybe going to switch to like, oh yes, I play video games, I have a Steam Deck, or I have a Legion Go and I play all my games on that. Like, there's potentially a reality where that occurs.
Here's what I'm wondering. Will the next Steam Deck be bigger or smaller?
There's probably like room for both, honestly.
I know there is. That's why I'm like, does Valve go, do we do the Deck XL or do we do the Deck Mini? And it's going to be clamshell.
No, it's gonna be like one of the folding screens, like Samsung's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
I don't know. I think like maybe they would like find a way to shuffle some of the board layout around to like give it a bigger screen, but I don't think it would get like much physically larger. They're kind of at the limit of like what is comfortable to hold in your hand for an extended period of time.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Let us know what you think. Up next, AI is real. We got to deal with it. It exists. Booga booga. Got to be scared of it. And Steam added a little thing. When was it? Like 2 weeks ago? I think we talked about it, right? So you can like say that you got some AI in your video game. And like, that's cool. It's self-reported. You ain't got to worry about it. And SteamDB's like, yo, we can hook you up with identifying it. SteamDB over on Blue Sky, they're like, players have been asking for the ability to filter out games made with Gen AI. We've added automatic tag on SteamDB. If you're not using SteamDB during sales, it's indispensable. Go check it out. AI Gen content disclosures.
I can actually find out if the game's on sale. I think that's the big thing with SteamDB is
And we use it for all types of things, like looking at charts and all the other bits. But it's got we need to settle on like, you know, the recycle bin for AI, because everybody's trying to do their own thing. That's the Google Gemini, you know, the Google AI thing.
The
sparkly,
the symbol. This is the AI. You know what? I think it's doing a disservice to sparkles. I think honestly though, this is something I agree that should be added into Steam proper. But it's good to see that like there is a broad ecosystem of third-party tools that is designed to make Steam, you know, usable to the end user. I guess it's a thing. It's a thing people care about. I know. I definitely. I'll definitely give games that are using like Gen AI content definitely a second sniff if I'm looking for something to play. I think I don't know. I think like for small indie things, some usage of it is fine. If you're a large studio that can afford to pay artists and programmers and musicians, you fucking should.
So what happens if you unknowingly buy AI assets?
Well, and again, that's the problem is there's like a lot of fucking disingenuous shit regarding like AI content, right?
Yeah, I mean, like you could go to the Unity store and like find like because like at the end of the day, like the thing that they got on Steam right now, kind of meaningless because it's self-reporting.
Yeah. And like there's still like all the like rights holder shit because. Yeah. What you get these stories about like meta torrenting like what petabytes of data to train.
Hey man, like, listen.
They don't even fucking seed their shit.
Come on, man.
At
listen,
the very least,
picking on these little startups, man. Just trying to scrape by. Come on, man.
Poor Zuck. My heart breaks for him. It really does. But you know, it is a thing that people care about. It's good to see that there are ways to filter this out for people who do care about this kind of stuff. Kind of like our next game.
No, I mean, when do we get, because like the self-reporting thing, and I'm not even joking around like that. That sounds like on the developer, indie or larger company, they could be like, hey, but yeah, we use some AI. They don't have to. And we're like, yeah, it'd be nice if you did that. That's good on them that they do. Do we end up with like AI, like AIing the AI to determine the AI?
Well, there is actually a fair washing problem when it comes to like validating AI output of like you can just make an AI that lies about what the decisions it's making. It's going to be really hard to tell. I don't know. I don't honestly know if there is like a technical solution to it given like the like you have adversarial networks, right? Like where you have this arms race of like things that are producing bullshit and things that are being designed to detect bullshit, and they're using to like reinforce each other, right? Like, well, I talked about last week. What did I deal with? Not one but two comments like AI generated voice in my videos, which is like, why don't you go watch 14 years of my AI generated voice? And then I ran across this. Let's flip the script. I saw this on Mildly Infuriating. 16 years as a graphic designer, 8 years as a photographer, ruined by AI. Everybody's like, hey man, all that cool Photoshop shit you're doing, AI. And we're running into this. I see this more and more. Well, beyond just like art stuff, there's a problem with like deepfakes, right? With like people. Yeah. Like, but what I'm seeing is actual artists getting blown up, being accused of AI, and they're having to deal with this because now everything's AI. Well, and
My voice is AI. We're starting to default to everything being AI.
I will say, having just listened to a bunch of comics podcasts about like the very, very tight deadlines and the shortcuts that people take, I do wonder if a portion, not all of these, but a portion of these folks who are getting clocked as like, oh, this is AI, they're actually maybe using some AI tools to meet some deadlines. I don't know. I'm not going to say that everyone is guilty of that. I'm just saying that, sometimes people do lie. But I don't know. The entire issue is nuanced. I think if we can do it in a way where like the people whose work actually like resulted in the model get barely compensated, I think I'm okay with it. But like they got to explicitly agree to that shit, right? Like, yeah.
And how do we sort out the false positives? Like, no, again, like I think that's what we're seeing is like people are just assuming everything is going to be AI. Like they're like, safe bet, everything's AI. Then, people who are making stuff are going to end up having to defend their thesis of like, no, here's how I made it. I can walk back and be like, here, look at the DaVinci Resolve thing. Look at all the audio stuff. And the artist could be like, here's all the stuff I did. But like, it's going to be this extra step. Brave new world, kids. Stay tuned. Couple of new games to talk about this week. One is a blast from the past, man. Winward. When did the original Winward come out?
I don't have a date of when it came out. I remember when we played it, but that does not.
That was. It's been a minute, dude.
2015 was the general release.
So like 5 or 6 years ago. And
yeah. Look at your hands, Rose. Look at your hands.
No, I'm not, dude. I'm gonna have to start putting like lotion on my hands, dude. They're like
I started moisturizing.
Yeah, I'll have to do it, man, eventually. Anyway, there's a new version of Winward out. If you love it, you don't know anything about it, trade, quest, fight, and simply set sail, enjoy the ambience, and blow shit up. Naval RPG at its not going to say finest because somebody's got to bring up Black Flag, but it's a sequel to the original Winward, and what it looks like is more Winward, and you can play solo or get
prettier Winward.
Yeah, it does look a lot better. It genuinely does. Like, but yeah, it does have online PvP multiplayer, so you just get reconated like that. Because Winward is one of those games where it is fun. It is well done, but it's got an incredibly small community. Like where you go to the online and there's like that one server, and you're like, well, I'm just gonna die. And that ends up being like kind of like them fighting herds. There was that one populated people, and it was like, nope, that's just death, dude. That's nothing but death. There's no even getting good.
Or the people playing Open Arena who have been playing Open Arena for 25 fucking years.
Yeah, dude. So this is out, not out, but there's a demo, Next Fest. It was kind of brilliant. I didn't get a chance to download this one. Next one, I'll tell you more about it. Play around with it, explore it. Not necessarily my jam. I remember playing the original one. Dude, this thing still clocks in at like 1 gig. That's great. I love seeing that, man.
Mm-hmm. Well, and a lot of it is just because like it's just the tile sets. All the maps were procedurally generated, depending on the server. So yeah, and yeah, it looks like prettier Winward. And as we alluded to in the previous story, they do use AI to generate some of the character portraits. Although you can turn that off.
What do you think happens? Do people just disappear?
I think you get like the generic happy face, like
you just get emojis.
Yeah, everyone is like, oh no, I just got my ship blown up by less than bracket angry face or whatever, right?
Oh man. I would be tempted to like play with, I think it's maybe just like a little too slow for me. Do you like fast? You like turn-based, so
I'm kind of I don't have like a strong preference either way. I'm not really good at like Twitch stuff because my manual dexterity is shit. But
ARPGs?
Yeah, ARPGs I like. This one, but yeah, you're right. It has kind of like a sort of like a moderate pace because you are making commands in real time, but like you're sailing ships, so you can't like turn right away. Cannons take a long time to load. You only have like X number of shots
to keep track. So no, that's good. That can be fun for the right person, dude.
Yeah, right. And like Pedro fucking loved that shit.
Yeah.
Right? So so like it is kind of like in this sort of like interim of like, yes, it is real time, but there is quite a bit of like nuanced strategy and things are happening over a sort of a longer clock than regular real time stuff.
All right.
Speed.
Sega is a company that made a game with a hedgehog in it way back when. My Mega Drive was so old it came with Altered Beast. I had to get Sega separately, which I should have held on to because apparently those cartridges, like that case, because it was a pack-in game, so nobody bought the standalone version of the original Sonic the Hedgehog. And like that's worth some money these days. I'm sure that's in a landfill at this point. But one of my favorite things with the Sega games is like the bonus levels where you run around and like jump through shit. Then like Sega lost their damn mind. They made the Hedgehog 3D. Then we just got a bunch of fun like Sonic games that I've enjoyed because I bought that like Sonic multi-pack, 20 years later. And I played through a bunch of stuff that showed up on like the Wii and the GameCube. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. Like I wouldn't play it for,
One of the Sonic collections actually has like an infinite blue spheres mode. So it's like the mini games in between
like running around the.
Yeah. There's just an infinite mode of that.
Dude, that's pretty dope. So I've always been a fan of Gotta Go Fast. And I saw this roll by on the Steam Next Fest, and I'm like, you know what? I'll try it out. I'm talking about HASTE, Broken Worlds demo. Run fast, soar through the air, master your landings, and as you speed through procedural worlds to outrun the end of the universe, which there is an end of the universe. Not the most deadly thing in the game. Not by a long shot.
It's that blue stuff, and it can be deadly if you start mashing into trees like I did.
Oh man, I had a great time with this thing. I like loaded it up. It's got the sense of speed, the upgrades, and it's fast. I can see where they're going with it. It's got giant fucking rings in it, and it will kill you, absolutely murder you for no reason whatsoever. Like you'll just go to the next stage, and it'll start your character just running immediately off the map. It's got bugs. Like there's nothing you can do. It is just instant death. Go grab that. If you are a fan of the Sonic titles, this performs very well on my 3060, even at 1440p. No stutters and all that. No, it is like pushing that poor little GPU to its limits. But yeah, grab that download. HASTE Broken Worlds demo if you are a fan of the 3D Sonic genre. This has got the right feel. The physics feel good. And Jordan, you got to mention you don't jump in this game.
Yeah, no, that was the thing that kind of threw me off at first. Was like there is no jumps. It is you get launched off of ramps, and then it tells you want to land like right at the top of the down ramp so that you get the most speed. And the game is really just like timing that out. And you got some tools at your disposal. You got like a hang glider. You have a hook shot. Yeah. It is pretty fun. I'm not very good at it. It also has like a roguelike element as well, where like you like there is a point in collecting the things you can cash it in for like power ups and healing items and stuff.
Yeah, my dumbass got the one to go faster, and I just died quicker. So
I got the healing one. So when I got caught up to by the death Fortnite beam whatever, I just lasted longer, and then I ran into a tree.
It took me a minute because I didn't read the manual. I'm like, what is this stuff? Why does it keep up? And I'm dead.
Yeah.
And
it's like, I get it. Yeah, go fast. Yeah, go fast. Outrun the stuff.
Motivation.
I was watching people play through the network test for Elden Ring Night Rain as well, and that has a similar mechanic.
Oh, it does.
As well. Yeah, because it's like Fortnite, where like the zone shrinks as the game continues.
I didn't look into it. I know we all have Dark Souls 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Dark Souls 3 this week. Somebody released like a seamless co-op mod for it.
Oh yeah.
I suck at Dark Souls though, dude.
Yeah, I but like something like Night Rain kind of it seems to me like it could be my end because it is just like very run based.
Yeah.
So it's like you and like it's 45 minutes at most, and then three. Yeah. So that seems interesting to me.
Well, something you've absolutely run the hell out of over the years.
Ah, yes.
Hey.
Icewind Dale. Well, this is not about Icewind Dale. It's about Neverwinter Nights. But they have a new community expansion pack module, a premium module out. It is the Doom of Icewind Dale. That's right. This 23-year-old game still getting new content that you can pay $10 for. But it's made with love. It's made with care. You don't get to visit all of the 10 towns. You get to visit several of the 10 towns of Icewind Dale. I'm a little disappointed in that. But it's a 14 areas. Sort of like a mid-quill fan fiction between all of the various Neverwinter Nights expansions that does some stuff to connect them. So yeah, it's always good to see new content released for this game, just because like it is just 100% community keeping this alive. Them and Beamdogs like keeping the engine running on modern systems, and everyone else is just like, we're gonna keep making content for it. I saw your note in the show notes about Neverwinter Nights 2. Yeah. Which is a game. It does exist.
Okay.
The problem was it didn't have the same modding tools that Neverwinter Nights 1 had.
So it was kind of like one and done, huh?
Yeah, where that's kind of like, and we're seeing this with like the modding toolkit from Baldur's Gate 3 from Larian as well. It's like this kind of shit really just will make sure your game will sell for fucking ever, because people can continue to make new content and it doesn't cost you anything as a publisher. You just gotta like keep the game working.
Well, you gotta like think about like the initial, like what our development cycle for video games are these days. Is like, just get it out, done, move next thing, done.
Yeah.
And like, oh, how long has this game been out? Hi, well, what was the name of the game? That got canceled in like 3 days. I've been trying to find a copy of it.
Concord,
yeah. I wanted to say Overwatch. Has Overwatch been killed yet?
No, Overwatch is still around. Yep.
I mean, that's good.
I mean, I
have no idea.
Activision is a huge company. I don't think Overwatch is going anytime soon.
I don't know. 10 to 15 hours of gameplay in this module. How much is this thing? It's not free. $10. Okay.
$10. Yeah.
Wait. So where were you disappointed about not being able to visit, my man?
Okay. Do I gotta name my favorite 10 town from Icewind Dale?
Listen, man, I'm just curious.
Listen, I appreciate getting called out on my bullshit. Fair enough. Let me see what's available. I
don't know. Like, this is like
I'm gonna say
map,
Bryn Shander. That's
all right.
Can I read? It doesn't have names. If I knew my Forgotten Realms lore better, maybe I would look at those and be like, that's clearly Bryn Karen or whatever.
Obviously, yeah, right.
It's been like 20 years since I read a fucking Drizzt book. Cut me some fucking slack.
Old Drizzle, man. You know what? We could have another complete other subject, which we won't. So, Team Fortress 2
Classic.
Yeah. Retro night here at LGC.
Yeah, so, TF2 has been around for a while. It's been assuaged by bots and completely unfun for a while. It's been covered in strange hats and pay to win. And you might think, you know what? I long for the days back before this game came out on Linux, where I could just have
before
pure TF2
nerd, you goddamn smelly nerd showed up, right? Yeah.
Yeah, right. So this is a demake that, or this is a mod that basically brings Team Fortress 2 back to its launch version. And I feel they're kind of tempting fate, because Classic Offensive, the Counter-Strike mod that does very much the same thing, it kind of knocks back Counter-Strike Source 2 like a 1.6 era Counter-Strike gameplay. It got nuked off of Steam. It's still available on ModDB, but yeah, Valve was just like, no, not allowed anymore. This one seems to be fine. They did just release the TF2 SDK, so maybe they're like, yeah, we're not making money off TF2 anymore. You guys have some fucking fun. But yeah, no, if you like OG TF2 and you don't like any of the new stuff, because it's no longer the pure experience of your youth. So
yeah, you probably played Team Fortress 2 before it was available on Linux, didn't you?
Briefly,
maybe?
Yes.
All right. That's where I'm at. Like, I never touched it. My Capture the Flag was the original Quake world. But, so I don't know what I'm missing. Maybe this is like, because like Team Fortress 2 just didn't stick with me. I had a good time playing around with it, right at the launch, but I'm like, nah, never really came back to it. Does this have hats?
I don't believe so.
Like, how can you even play without hats? Like, I don't understand. It does have a chicken, though. Did you see that?
You just have a very chilly head. Yeah, I did see the chicken.
It's got a chicken in it. Like, or wait, let's be accurate reporting. A chicken, or so we're led to believe. I don't even know what that's about, but it's there. I'm here for it.
Bok, motherfuckers.
Dude, I don't know. I mean, this mod's been around for a long time. Somebody's out there getting ready to type, and they're like, but this has been around for like a decade. Yeah, it's on Steam now. Fewer clicks. Done. You don't have to install it. Workshop. Just click. Done.
And it auto updates too. I think that's the main one.
Oh, like, I love that. I love it. And the same reason I have Blender installed through Steam. Click. Done. Be done with it. It's in the game.
But it's time to go to space.
Is it?
Yeah.
EA source code?
Yeah.
In space?
It's the famous Tim Curry line from Command and Conquer.
I know.
It goes to spice
in the game.
No, just Tim Curry just like levitated, like Poochie style. He's like, I must go now. My people need me.
Oh, dude. So if you didn't hear, like, this weird, amazing, polarizing internal news, because you're like, EA did something good, and I'm like, really good. And you're like, yeah, what's the catch? Well, there isn't one this time. The complete CNC, not the Music Factory, all the source codes, all the bits. Yeah, everybody prance now is out on the GitHub. You can download it and play with it, do what you want with it to, some extent and all that. And, they're not accepting pull requests, so don't get too excited. And, someone at EA definitely had to fight for this, Jordan. We're talking Tiberian Dawn, Red Alert, Renegade, General Zero Hour. I mean, the whole thing's there. Workshop support's been thrown into it. Like, what the hell are they doing, man? Have they lost their mind?
I think so. I think the Command and Conquer team at EA, because it's no longer Westwood Studios. Westwood Studios got dissolved. But whatever remains of them is like some sort of rogue agency running within Electronic Arts, just doing a bunch of cool shit. And much to the chagrin of like Andrew Wilson.
No, it just keeps going, don't it?
It just keeps going. There was some good comments. You posted the Windows is a flaming pile of poo one.
All right,
that's not in the show notes anymore. But
that's right here.
Oh, is it? All right, yeah.
I'll pull it up while you're.
Yeah, that one made me chuckle. Where it's just like, no, Windows sucks. Just FYI. Moving on. But it's all GPL v3, so the Brotherhood of Nod is approving of this license. Let's discuss how Windows is a flaming pile of
poo. I am now casting the header directly into the structure because it's the one I want. And this is just how it's done. I hate Windows. JKMCD.
Big same, bro. Big same.
Oh.
But yeah, doesn't come with the game assets. You're still going to have to buy them on Steam or GOG or wherever you get your game files. But yeah, no, it is fully open source now. They're hoping that modders will take a hatchet to it and make all sorts of crazy shit. And like this is on the heels of a few years ago, EA announced that they were going to make their assets compatible with OpenRA. This just gives those guys like way more ammunition now. They can just go and do whatever they want with the fucking game at this point.
That's good to say. I mean, one of the things we talked about in the pre-super shows was, like, did we ever get into these games? And I don't think I've ever played I played like Open Command and Conquer, but I've just like clicked around in it. Like nothing has driven me or nothing ever hooked me with it. And you said you tried to get into it, right?
I tried to play a lot of Tiberian Sun because that was one of the easier games to pirate back in the day for Casa. And I had an actual, like, I think I still have my disc copy of Command and Conquer Red Alert 2.
All right.
Which I attempted to play as well. That and between those two and StarCraft really cemented that like RTS isn't my genre. I tried so hard, but it is what it is.
It is. All right. That's going to do it for the Steamy Bits. Couple of regular, ordinary, run-of-the-mill news segments. And what type of GPU do you got there?
That's just the main one is the 5800 RX 580.
Oh, so you don't have like an NVIDIA AMD love child?
No. Well, I guess maybe with our next story, that kind of setup is a little more possible than it was once upon a time.
Yeah.
LACT. Let's get milky. Every time I hear LACT,
I did too. My brain immediately lactate, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no. For me, it's that one scene from Raised by Wolves where she's just like covered in the milk.
Oh,
the Robo milk.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear LACT, that's the image in my brain.
All right. Why is Robo milk always white? Robots bleed milk for some reason. Was it Aliens that established this?
I think it was Aliens is the one that, Alien is the one that I think of as like the earliest.
Why do robots run on milk? This is a real question. Sci-fi universe.
I think this is my theory. It's a purely thematic thing.
Yeah.
The color of blood is like symbolism, right? Like it goes back to like phrenology and like the humors and whatnot, where you have like bile and phlegm and shit like that.
Uh-huh.
So I think like red blood is very much like this thing is alive. It symbolizes that symbolizes life. black blood symbolizes like evil and unnatural. And the robots in Alien are kind of like this third thing. And so it's white blood is clearly unnatural, which I think is like the main signifier is like, this is an unnatural thing. Most things don't bleed white. This is your visual signal.
So like if I slice open a unicorn, where are we at in like fantasy? Do they like unicorns bleed plaid?
Random aside, there's that movie where like with Jenna Ortega, I think is her name, where it's like the death of a unicorn, where like a bunch of people accidentally hit a unicorn with their car, and then the unicorn's mate wants revenge and starts killing them.
I think I saw the trailer for that.
Yeah,
okay, all right. Yeah, I mean, okay. Back to the GPU overclocking.
Back to NVIDIA GPUs. Yes, LACT is a tool that allows you to do GPU clocking. Allows you. It's like core control. Originally, it was targeted mostly to be more broader support than core control, and they have brought in multiple GPU support and NVIDIA support, because as time has gone on, NVIDIA has been more and more receptive to open sourcing parts of their driver. Hell, most of the driver is entirely open source now, as opposed, well, the driver portion, there's still the black box firmware portion, the encrypted firmware that you need. But the new open source drivers can make use of this. And now these tools are something that can utilize the open source drivers to manage your system, because as we move away from our proprietary NVIDIA past into our open NVIDIA future, we're going to have to wave bye-bye to our lovely little CRT iconed control panel. Maybe we can put in a pull request to have LACT add just a little picture of
I want to put in a pull request to get to their damn screenshots, dude. I'm impressed. Like, even if I try to right click and save this thing, it won't work. Like, I am trying to show you guys, like, here's the interface. So it's really fun. The first time I played around with LAC was with the WX3100 that I did over on Interfacing Linux. You know, just like a little cheap spare GPU upgrade. But knowing that they got the Team Green stuff in there with the p-states, big fan of that. And you get the bonus offset too. So when you do set the clock and all that, and you're like, you know where you're at. Also, it now supports hot plugging GPUs, because, like, welcome to the future, folks, because that's the thing you got to plan for now, because you just plug in GPUs, which is not as crazy as it used to sound.
It's not super common yet, and I'm really mad at Intel for just like fucking up the rollout. Well, not fucking up the rollout of Thunderbolt. They ruined the rollout of Thunderbolt by making it like an Intel only thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they Intel it up. We could have had hot pluggable GPUs for a hot minute now, but now
we could have
now we're
not had
up.
USB 3 and 4,
right?
And that nightmare. Like, do you think that was like a good thing? Like locking down that control and like, no, we have Thunderbolt 1, Thunderbolt 2, Thunderbolt 3, clearly fucking labeled. They all do the thing. As opposed to like, this is USB 4-ish.
It's yeah. So well, it was like, well, if this is USB 3. Well, one of the, or Type C, one of the several Type C variants.
Oh my god!
Guess which one?
Charging. You know, one of the things with the USB 4 that they said they're going to be pushing out is like, it's going to be mandatory, at least on the back of the motherboard. I think. Maybe I don't know about the cables, but like to like label like what type of.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. So I look forward to mislabeled cables, because you know that shit. You're gonna be like buying some cables on Amazon, and I'm like, why is this charging only?
The thing that fucked me up was that one Lenovo laptop I bought that had a Type C port that didn't have display on it. It had everything else but display.
That's a crime, dude. Like, if you get
right. That's just evil.
Two things on a laptop. It should charge and it should have an output on it. Like, I don't even know where to go with it. All right. Hey, framework. We've talked about framework over the years. They came in and disrupted the hell out of laptops, because my entire adult life, my entire child life, I'm sure a lot of you at home have had the same thoughts of like, wouldn't it be cool if like we had a standard for laptops, you know, because a desktop PC, you could buy a motherboard, big RAM, build your own. Couldn't do that with laptops. Laptop manufacturers can't be done. Impossible. If we did it, it would be like super thick. It'd be crazy expensive. Moon technology. Just get it out of your head. Go buy this one. It's glued together and it's pretty thin. And shut up. Then Framework showed up and, well, they made a modular laptop. Easy to swap out the motherboard, keyboard, different modules, screen, bezel, all that. Made it nice and thin and reasonably priced. Then we saw HP, and we saw Dell, two that come to mind go, yeah, I mean, we could probably do that too, you guys. Like, give us a little while, and we'll see what we can do it. Well, the mad lads over at Framework are back with something a little bit different. Jordan, I don't think this is a laptop.
No, I think it's a grill.
Yeah, sure, that's a grill. Like the Connect 4, but on the front. What we're looking at is a 4.5 liter mini ITX desktop from these laptop mega nerds, and I love every one of them. This one's powered by the new Ryzen AI Max processor. Yeah, because we got to put AI on everything. Optional RGB fans. You see the little Noctua fan in there. That's another option, though. Yeah, just to make sure you know what you're talking about. You're on the inside. You're like, yeah, brown fan, cool. Low power DDR5. Now we're starting to get some bad stuff here. Soldered to the motherboard. And since it's basically a laptop motherboard, so is the CPU or APU or however you want to call it.
Yeah. It is very much a all-in-one computer that you can stick into this case. It accepts the framework USB modules, so you can do like the additional storage or like front-facing ports. And yeah, that was kind of it. There, I know some folks in our Discord were freaking out about this.
But look at you can make a tower.
That looks kind of neat. If you're gonna do like a mini cluster at home, and like clearly this is like aimed at like professional workloads. They do have they do make some mentions for gaming. They're like, oh, it's small enough to bring to your LAN party, but you can also just bring a framework laptop.
But it's got a handle, homie.
Okay, it does have a handle.
It does.
Does it have little casters though? Can I like wheel it?
I'm trying to find. Let me get over to their. There's multiple pages around here. There's the actual size right there. No banana for scale. Yeah. All right, who the hell? No, homie, you ain't playing with an ergonomic mouse. No shooter. You're on WAS, man. I don't believe it. I believe that's staged.
He's playing it, getting over it. That's the reality.
So this thing's about the size of the box you're on right now. I think they're going to show. Nope, that's where the handle goes anyway. There's the modules you were talking about. These are, if you got the modules for your laptop, you can swap them in. That's great. They got a good standard going on with that. You want to put a USB-C with display, you can get this module from them and make it happen. Or you want to need a Type A, you need HDMI, work with them. They got it. It's only got 5 gigabit Ethernet, no 10 gig, which I was like, wow, we talked about it a little bit. Me and Jill did on Wednesday. Here it is. Look at that. Look at that. That's it.
Handle. Hard to handle, baby.
They're like, oh, yes, it's a carrying handle. Like, no, this is for
it's
a
an
new
assault
sport.
Handle.
I would like to introduce here at LGC, we need to have an entire afternoon of tossing these for distance. Yeah, we need to hammer throw these bastards.
I was thinking, Olympic hammer throw.
Yeah, but
absolutely.
Yes. Let's see how modular it'll be once
it's like, well, no, and then we have different classes based on like, oh, do you have which CPU do you have in here, right? Like which memory, which CPU for distance. Yeah, like it's interesting. This is clearly not something like aimed at folks who want to like build their own desktop.
They try to razz that up a little bit in the marketing. They're like, hey, you can build. It comes. There's a full version, and then there's the build your own version, which I think should have air quotes around it because this is basically what you do. You put that in the case and you hit the power button.
Well, but like I think we're gonna start seeing more of this, like as we see more and more like desktop grade ARM computers, right? Because like a lot of them are systems on chips, right? They don't make a lot of these guys that are like traditionally socketed CPUs that you just stick into a motherboard.
No,
right?
They did say that they wanted, they talked with AMD about like getting that socketed. AMD's like, nope.
not in that form factor.
No, with the traces and the way that's got to work. Nope. Mm-mm. No, that's really the only disappointing thing with me is, for a tower PC, not being able to upgrade the CPU or, okay.
Well, does it do Thunderbolt? Speaking of external GPUs, can this thing like handle an external GPU?
It's got USB 4 on it, 2 USB 4, 2 display port, 1 HDMI. So maybe, possibly shrug emoji.
Maybe, yeah. That because like that would be the thing if they're like, oh, it's for AI development. Yeah. One of the first things you're probably going to want to do is like shove a bigger parallel processor in there. So.
Well, here's one of the catches. Like the default case it comes with. We're looking at the back of it. It's got a by 4 PCI Express slot in it. Good on them for including that. But do you see something missing on the back of this case?
Power.
No. Power.
Well, like there's a little power at the bottom.
Let me zoom in D-hands for you. So if I was going to put a PCI,
something to pop out, yeah.
So if you put a card in there, it can't have a back on it, or it won't.
Yeah, at first glance, I thought, oh, is there like a little? It's like the thing on the back of the PS2 that you used to stash your drugs, right? Like,
yeah,
one of those guys that you can just kind of pop out and slap.
So
a card in.
I think there's going to be a B variant of the case with an actual slot. So if you put something in the PCI Express slot that requires outputs on the back. I think they're saying like, hey, you could add, like a SATA card to it or something like that.
I believe you could also stick this just in like a regular ITX case, and this should work as well. So,
yes, it's a standard ITX, and this is like one of the beautiful things about, here's what I want to touch on because I have not one but two ARM ITX motherboards sitting like right across here on the other side of the studio. A lot of people are like, why? Why do you want to? ITX, mini ITX form factor for ARM. And I'm like, because you don't have to. The dumbest thing about buying a not Raspberry Pi is trying to find a damn case for whatever you bought. Because, like, good luck. There might be that one person on, like, Etsy that made the one for it, So.
Now I kind of want, like, an EATX ARM motherboard.
Fuck yes.
Just like there's just like large swaths of just empty fucking silicon.
And I want to take a little tiny case like this and dribble some holes out and just like shove it in there, man. Like, we'll do it. We'll do it right. But this got me thinking though: do we just need to bend over and accept this though? Not picking on you, Framework, because I know somebody from Framework's going to be listening to this. Just in general, because we've definitely talked about it. And this starts at $10.99, by the way, on the low end. And if you want to jazz it up with 128 gigajoules of the memory RAM, it gets up there, $2-3 grand, something like that. But are we just going to deal with this? Is this? It's a weird thing for us. We're a bit older, seeing where desktop PCs are going. Is this going to be, 10 years from now? This is going to be perfectly normal. You're like, yeah, that's my desktop. This is my gaming rig. Which then again, 10 years from now, you're probably going to have enough GPU grunt and whatever it is, or is this how x86 is going to go? You better make sure you get your RAM and your.
We were worried about that back in the day when Intel was threatening to move to like a BGA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they're just going to be like, we're just going to sell you the motherboard and the CPU all in one package.
Mm-hmm.
So like, again, from a business perspective, I can definitely think that the penny pushers want that to be the case because then you can't upgrade stuff every time you have to buy a new thing, right? Like,
and it's also cheaper to do because you don't need sockets.
I guess like cheaper from the manufacturing perspective, not on the end user though. When you gotta like buy an entirely new like system every time you want.
Well, you don't have a Hutter rework station, man. My man, come on.
I have a hairdryer and a laser printer. That's what I got.
All right, I'll bring the watermelon and duct tape. We'll see if we can upgrade the RAM of this bitch. I don't know, man. I think this is reasonably priced, but what I said on Wednesday, I want to pop back because I know some people are probably thinking the same thing. If this is your thing, like, let me know. Like, I want to know what the target market is because I know from my perspective, and probably Jordan's and a lot of you, you're looking at this saying, for $10.99, I could go buy a motherboard and a 5600G and, some RAM and stick it into a mini ITX with a little cheap case like this. And not only, it might not be as fast because this is like the latest AI processors in it, but you could jazz that up a bit later. Why? Because you can swap out your CPU and upgrade it. And you can also upgrade your RAM. But
yeah, it seems like a weird midpoint because like,
yeah,
I don't think this wouldn't get any. I don't really feel that this would get anyone curious in like building a PC. It's like, well, I did like the basic IKEA version. Now I want to take it to the next level. I don't see that. I don't see that roadmap here, especially at this price point and especially for this feature set. But who the fuck knows, right?
Who knows? This is what I put the call out on Wednesday, and I still want to hear it because like I'm not against this or poo-pooing it. This is just pure old men going. Explain thing to me because this seems like it's going kind of in the opposite direction. Like this is less repairable than one that you would build for yourself, which goes against like what Framework has done for laptops by making them infinitely like upgradable and repairable. But I mean, you know, you're still left with that. What do we call it? Like the laptop dilemma, where you, like, your RAM and your CPUs is just going to be a part of your motherboard. Get used to it.
I guess what I would like to see maybe is if like they sort of like leaned into the, oh, I can pull the board out of my laptop and stick it in this desktop, and all of a sudden the power envelope is a lot higher and blah blah blah, and maybe something like this, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel that's probably a more useful angle, but
Genuinely curious. Like, let me know. Anyway, hey, if you do want to let us know, drop us a comment, leave it on this video or over at Patreon, or head over to Linux Gamecast. Click the contact button. We got a couple of hints, allegations, and things that you need to read, man. If you want to come on the show, if you're working on a crowdfunding campaign, if you got questions about, you know, how do I Linux, bro? How do I Linux this? Head over to Interfacing Linux. I got a forum over there, but we do have an email, no reply at linuxgamecast.com, which is checked pretty regularly, maybe like twice a week. Maybe you drop something in, I'm like, we might read it here on this very show. But this comment, Jordan, comes from our YouTube, over at YouTube. We're so old school, we don't even need an @ Actually, I don't know.
No, but we're not old school enough that we have a plus in front of our YouTube URL.
Dude, god damn, dude.
All right. Well, this one comes from Shadow Mancetti. I don't know if he's Italian, but every time I read that, I read it as Shadow Mancetti. And he says, CPU performance keeps increasing, but people are not buying the best CPUs because they finally notice they don't need to. Been saying for years that we are slowly reaching a point where the common toaster is enough to do everything that most people need it to do. It's soon going to be in that dollar store CPU that runs Crysis. Clearly, server space and some fancy gents in the internet are going to need their Threadrippers to heat the room. AAA games are getting so expensive that people are not going to buy them anymore. Same time, many cheaper games are plentiful and are just as good or better and literally work with less hardware.
Did you just tell me to get off your lawn?
Yeah.
All right.
Fine. Get off my tiny lawn that I occasionally have to mow. I think we are definitely hitting a point of diminishing returns when it comes to like CPU performance. That's where you're seeing like a lot of this push into like AI NPU stuff, because like, hey, look, there's some more stuff that we can upcharge you for features that you don't really use.
Then you got people like me, like I don't know if I talked about it on the show. Like I miss like the get excited about stuff, like the new things, like and big changes, and like this is like what I talked about, my little side quest and like poking around with this ARM stuff. I'm like, oh, the cool stuff's still happening over here. You know, it's still making those. You
just got to take a bit of a performance hit because you're not on like fucking big
right. But like we're getting like those big jumps and leaps, and like they're coming up these new products, and like for the last well over a decade. When was the last time you got excited about a CPU? Like, okay, the X3D, that was neat a couple of years ago. You know, getting like 96 megabytes of cache on it.
I was excited when I bought my 3900X. Okay. Because it's like, 12 cores, 24 threads. This is like the highest core count I've ever had on a CPU. That's crazy. And now it's like, now that that's kind of standard for like the high end, it's like, okay. The like core density isn't really increasing because, you know, the thermals don't accommodate it. IPC isn't getting like much higher. So yeah, and like what games have to implement shit like ray tracing and like actively run worse in order to justify you buying better hardware.
But no, there's the other feature in the card that'll make it blurrier for you.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think to some extent, and like given just the sheer volume of games that don't require high system requirements, we're kind of at this sort of critical mass where there's enough. You can go the rest of your life and never play a AAA game with like the computer that you have right now, and you'd be entertained the entire time. Like there's enough media. Right?
I think there's a couple of angles to this though, because we talked about the Steam Deck at the beginning of the show, and that has shown a lot of people that you can really get everything that you want out of the game when you dial it down to fugly, and still have a great time with it. You know,
gameplay matters, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like gameplay has always been and shall remain king. You know, you're not. Yeah, you know what? You're not playing it at 4K 120. You're playing it at 720p on your Steam Deck, and you're like, yeah, that's great. I love this.
Yeah. I can play Baldur's Gate 3 on my 3900X with my 7800 XT. Runs like a gem. and I can also just run it on my Steam Deck and have just as equally a good time. And yeah, I mean, part of that is that Larian put a shit ton of work into like optimizing that experience for like a
and they're still working on it.
Yeah, they're still fucking. They said they were done, and it turns out they were lying. They're doing a bit of a Hollow Knight there, except the game is a much larger scale.
They got too much invested in that, man. It's going too well for them, and good on them. But yeah, we are living, you know, non-ironically, like this game in the CPUs are cheap and they're good enough, and like that. This is just where we're at, man. Like. Yeah.
You can buy Neverwinter Nights, a game that came out in 2004, and they're still putting out new shit for it. So,
7 or 8 years ago, you could have released a game, a $60 game, that genuinely would not have convinced me, but would allowed me to start rolling the ball on the mental gymnastics required to buy a $400 to $500 video card. And even then, that was like, this is just crazy. That wasn't even something I'd show off. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. You can't do that with $1,200. You can't do that with $9. I don't even think you can do it with $7. Like, $7's not the new $4. Like, so yeah, man, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I'm good. Now, I'd like things to get cheaper. I can wait it out, but there's nothing right now that I can't play that I want to play. That's where I'm at. I think that's a dangerous place for consumers to be, man, because it doesn't matter how many reflexes or how many DLSSs or how much memory RAM you slam on it. The vast majority of people are just going to start picking up their damn mobile phone and start playing there. Then you're going to have a worse problem.
And but again, part of it is like these companies have to push out new products, but like well, have to, because they're obligated to make money for their fucking shareholders. So like, and there comes a point where like, yeah, like 5070, there's no reason for this fucking card to exist. No one needs it. But we got to keep making shit, right?
Well, this is like the 5070, like AMD and NVIDIA. NVIDIA is even worse. And NVIDIA will have a card to match whatever price point all the way down the stack. Yeah. And a lot of people were worried that the 9070. Okay, what is the new? What are they called? Is it the 90, 70, 90, 50, 90?
So we've looped back, like we're back to like model numbers that we've already had in the same cards.
I envy you young, naive children that were not around for the original run of these numbers, because it's far less confusing for you.
Man, you remember the 8800 GT? What a great card back in the day.
Yeah, dude. We should have stuck with three digits, dude. We had enough numbers. You could have kept rolling with that, dude. Now, listen, they were worried that AMD, when they released these new cards, were just going to do NVIDIA minus $50, and that wasn't going to work, dude. Like, nobody was going to bite for that. So it looks like AMD's kind of going to come down on the price a little bit, and have like $500, $600 for a mid-range card just still doesn't hit right with me.
Yeah, that used to be your top end. Like
that used to be your top end, and
maybe 1,000, and that was like a dual GPU, right? Like, yeah.
Intel's already shown that, unfortunately, with the B580 being $250 for like a low mid-range card, barely mid-range if you squint, but still $250. And Intel, I would hope, isn't losing money, but then again, they very well might. That's why they only did that at first run of them. We're still waiting on the rest of them. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we do, you want to support us while you're over at the chat, you scroll back up and you click on not live, you click support, then you wait, then it comes up and it says shenanigan financing. That is where you can just click on a thing, or by this time probably have just typed in patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. That's how we finance this nonsense. We give you a bunch of stuff as a bonus, as a thank you, naming credits. You get live and uncut versions of the show. You get your own commercial-free, non-YouTube video version, higher quality, better audio, an invite to come party. I was talking to Jordan in the pre-super shows, and you get that too. It's a little bonus podcast about coming to party with you and Sandy. He said Empty dropped in on Thursdays, right? So is that kind of like semi-open if they hit you up in Discord?
Yeah, I mean, it's semi-open. It's still like an $80 game, so like,
they're just got it laying around,
Yeah. If you have it around, hit me up, and we'll see if we can make it work.
Speaking of Discord, if you are one of our beautiful patrons or you're a Twitch sub, do that. Or if you're a YouTube sub, because that's enabled, I'm sure somebody will take us up on that one day. Link it up to our super secret Discord. That's where we're at the other 6 days.
Do we have any channel members?
I don't know. I set it up because I got asked, and I knew like it was going to be one of those things of somebody just asking me because they wanted to get somebody to do something.
Yeah.
And I could be completely wrong. We could have subs. Hi, how you doing? You're awesome. We love you too. Yeah. Come say hi in Discord. You get like your own little Discord thing, YouTubers, and it'll be there. And of course, we got Labor Pay, PayPal. Anyway, you can kick us some coin each and every week. We would appreciate it. But if not, hey, that's cool too. Come watch the show. We do it live, free. Everything's released under Creative Commons, and we're here on Twitch Saturday nights, 8 p.m. There we go. Aha, shilling over with. Come play some Trackmania on Tuesdays and Fridays, and definitely come. RPG is kind of fun. It's to the point now where the map authors are starting to show up on a regular basis, and we're getting spectators on the server as we're playing and pissing people off. We were playing the map last week, and the author was watching us the entire time, doing his damnedest not to comment in chat.
There is a reason I title all my live streams Jordan Sucks At. I just want to set the expectation right at the front. This is not a speed run. This is not like a high skill level playthrough. This is Jordan fumbles his way through some fucking games.
This was just pure maddening, dude. Because like he was like, "Hey," we're like, "All right, oh, that's you. That's your name up there in the author thing that we're playing on." And it just got to one point. He's like, "Back the fuck up."
Stop, you're hurting me. Stop.
These are deep, dude. This is like an hour and 12 minutes. So he's been suffering, dude. We finally got to him. Oh, it is brilliant. All right. Speaking of credits, let's go ahead and cue that music. You can always find us, like I said, right here on Twitch, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Moon Time, Saturday night. Stop in, say hello, and we'll say hello back, because we always do a little after show, a little bit of a pre-show, and a bit of a show. Get in touch with me. I'm on everything, man. Just type in Venstone. You'll find me. I'm on the Twitters. I'm on the Blue Skies. I'm on the Facebook. We got a Facebook page. I guess that technically counts. And of course, Venn. I'm just at Venn on mast.linuxgamecast.com. I think, I put our Mastodon stuff in the video description on YouTube. Look at that.
Aha! I too am on Mastodon at frojo@mast.linuxgamecast.com, and I am jammed in the Blue Sky paper tray 3 on Blue Sky at frojo@bsky.app. PC load letter, what the fuck does that mean?
We need more laser predators. Time for some credits.
I went to high school down the street from a toner factory, and when the wind picked up, oh, it was great. Smells like fresh photocopies. Well, we gotta thank our freshly photocopied Patreons, our advisors, Arthur, our executive producers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Ian, Kurducky, drummer, Thargos, Barbara Ramp, Scott, Tomic. We got our little Nicky fans, Iggy, Basil, Empty, and Casey. And we got the Sea Monsters.
Yeah, John, Dirty Dean, Angel, Dementor, System TRL, Rider X, Machina, Veritaduda, Shrug, Mike, and Kaiju Rai.
We got Death Notes, we got Redisk, Mark, Tara, Oil of Hope, Chad, Romeo, Turnover, Martin, Renee, Leonardo, Kim, Chris, Jill, Sheeps, and Steve, and
Johnny
all of the
D. Spec 12. I'm getting some of these chairlings in. Jem, Hollow, Jack Darkwing, Massive Oni, Jason, and of course,
Lynn Prof 999.
Sandy and Shadi, our Libra players. Beautiful people, it's been fun. It's been real, and put your AIs in your AIs so your AIs can make some AI exhibits. Yeah. I don't know, man.
Needs more fingers.
More fingers? No. See,
oh, no. How many fingers am I holding?
Okay, that's going to be our copyright, dude. I don't care if it's just, we use it for profile pictures. It's still got to have 13 fingers on it. Yeah. That's going to be our copyright. All right, till next week, everybody. Get out there. Die to fire.
Thor from Pirate Software has the fun one where he has 5 dudes.